Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Depending on wherever you are calling me, you are watching me from. This is me, your brother, your friend, your man is Steven, right here on the show. I told you guys a few days ago, like a week or thereabout, that I was going to bring in a veterinary doctor who I had known for quite some time here into the show, so he can give us a more very explicit and a more clearer understanding of the animal husbandry farming in Nigeria. It's not just a vet by accident. I think he's a professional vet. He's going to introduce himself more properly, as the show begins. I want you guys to just kindly please share this video. Let's invite friends into the show because it's going to be a very, very, wonderful time today. So I'm going to do my sharing right now. I'm going to do my sharing right now. Let me just see if this is already there.
By advertising on YouTube, I my business by reaching my most important customers.
So I'm going to just try to do my sharing right away. Please, if you are, kindly just share this video. It's those of you that share it to our wall, share it to our what is it called, the WhatsApp wall, share it to our Facebook, share it to every social media handle that you can share it, because it's going to be a very, very interesting and very educative session today. Now I have with me right here on the show this evening is Dr. Fatola Teslim. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Okay. Please, can you just tell us, who are you? Who is Dr. Fatola?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Fatola Teslim, a veterinary doctor practicing here in Edo State. Graduated some few years ago. At least I've been practicing for more than 15 years now in piggery, poultry, dogs, and other animals. So I've been in poultry basically here in Edo State now for like 10 years.
Okay, 10 years, that's quite a lot of years, I must say.
Yes.
Right now, if I may ask, don't be offended by my kind of line of question, because people really want to know a lot about this business. We're discussing this business for quite some time now, and a lot of people are interested in it. And I told them, okay, we're going to want to really get a clearer understanding of what the business world, particularly the poultry business world, is today. As of today, how many poultries are you actually managing in a state as of today, if I may ask, roughly?
Roughly, I have over 10 poultry farms that has above 10,000 beds in their farm. 24,000, 15,000. So I have about 10,000 of that. Then I have pockets of maybe 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, like that, thereabout. So I have quite a lot and spread all over Edo State.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that tells that you have a very much vast knowledge on the topic that we are having this evening.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what actually is the poultry terrain in Edo State? What can you say about it? How does it look? How does the poultry business look like in Edo State? Is it a profitable one or a not profitable kind of business?
It's quite profitable. If very, very profitable if we follow the due process. Because if you cannot just go into poultry without planning, when you plan well, then you get what you want in poultry. A lot of people say when you go into poultry, you won't get anything and you just crash out like that. But if you follow the due process, I can tell you, you make it.
Okay, can you just in the next few minutes maybe tell us what a due process is from the startup point? Maybe that can give us a
Okay.
knowledge of where we are going.
From the startup point, let's say, from when you want to go into the poultry industry, say, let's a professional direct you, somebody that knows everything about poultry, not just a quack or somebody that doesn't know anything, just cajole you into going into poultry. I have a lot of people that they've cajoled into poultry. If you go into poultry with maybe 10,000 birds, you only spend 500,000 naira to feed them. The eggs you'll be making this. So at the end of the day, they will now discover that they are telling them lies. They won't be able to get anything from it. But if you go into it with proper planning, note number one, you have to be financially okay. Two, you have to have a professional to direct you. Three, your environment that you want to keep the birds, the structure that you want to build, they need to guide you so that you don't go and build the wrong ones. Because once you get it wrong from the start, there is no how you can get optimum profit from those birds, because if the environment is not too conducive for them, they can never produce to 85% or 90% production. And when you are not getting up to that in Nigeria, the profit margin will be very, very minimal or nothing coming out. So one needs to just get somebody that will direct you, and then if the environment is conducive for the birds, and then that is just it. That's it. That's
Okay.
it.
Is it actually possible that someone can start with a very little capital, to start with a poultry farm? Because I know
Little capital.
poultry farming is quite expensive,
Yes, quite expensive. Little capital in like how much, if I may ask first?
Let's say somebody thinking about starting a poultry farm with 500,000 naira. How possible can that be?
500,000 with the buildings already in place, or you want to use their capital to start the building and every other thing?
Starting off just everything involved. Maybe you pay already the land, either rented or that they actually acquired before. So that's maybe land exclusive. Is it possible?
With 500,000, if you have a land, yes, it might not be enough because of the cost of building materials now. 500,000 might not be able to erect what will be able to take much of much beds. So with 500,000, I'm not too sure, except you have a structure on ground already. Maybe you have a poultry that you want to use already. Then from there, you can know with 500,000, you can know the number of birds to pick and then feed them to a certain level before they start making money for you. Well, 500,000 without structure, I'm not sure. Not sure.
Now, in the poultry business, I think I'm doing it right now. And the question I'm going to ask is going to be directly as from experience. Okay. We found that during the rainy season, birds don't die a lot. But when they grow, except the chicks that actually dies during the rainy season because of cold. Now, during the dry season, there are big worms who were actually needing heat while they were young, and now need more cold when they were old. Am I correct, sir?
The line is breaking. I didn't get you, sir.
I said the birds.
Yeah.
They will have more mortality during the dry season than the rainy season.
Yes.
So why is that? Can you explain to the audience why do we have more mortality during the dry season and then the rainy season, and how can we avert or prevent such mortality?
During the dry season, the heat at that period is kind of much, and the humidity is high. So if the birds you have in the pen we're having heat stress, what we call heat stress. So, but there's a way you can still curb it that you have less mortality by watering them or putting a fog kind of on top of the cages so that it comes out like a mist or dew on the beds. So that cools them off to minimize the heat stress.
Okay, okay. So if, for example, someone does not have that fog because of financial constraint, like I said, we're talking about 500,000 naira, maybe you
Yes.
have a poultry pens already, and you know that putting on fog from the 500,000 naira going to that in the entire
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
capital.
You
So
can
what
actually use
other way?
you can actually use this knapsack we use in spraying. The knapsack you wear at the back and you use it in spraying. You can put water in it and be spraying the beds individually like that. Then you can also get ice block to be putting into their overhead tank so that they get cool water to drink. That also cools their systems down. Then with vitamins, you can support with vitamins that would also make them lose the stress of heat.
Okay. So what kind of
Yeah.
vitamins are we talking about? Because you just want to know, because there are a lot of farmers there
Vi-
who started
yes,
the poultry farm.
vitamin C mostly. Vitamin C mostly for birds.
Okay. So that is the best way we can reduce mortalities during
Yes, yes.
the
The heat
the dry season.
the heat period.
Okay.
Yes.
Now
Some people
I
even introduce
also
fan.
know.
Some
Okay.
people introduce fan into the pen to blow off the hot air inside the pen. They introduce fan into the pen for cooling system too.
Okay. Okay. Now I think there's a lot of thought I wanted to please, if you have some, just drop it in the comment section, please, so I can bring it up. When you line up a poultry farm, there are different stages that you go through. From the
Yeah.
OC, I remember you spend about 1 week with the birds, make sure that you monitor birds practically day and night, the first 3 days, to make sure they are able to adapt to the new environment since they are just coming out from the shells of the eggs. I want you to give us the day old chicks vaccine. There's 6 weeks or 12 weeks. I think 6 weeks, if I'm correct. We have the day old chicks vaccine. We have the 6 weeks. Am I right?
Yeah. We're not 6 weeks per se, but I can just give you the from the
Oh
day
yeah,
old
yeah. Just give us
to
all the vaccines up to the
okay.
laying point, so that people can just be aware.
Okay. So when the birds come out from the hatchery, it is the hatchery's responsibility to do two major vaccines before they sell the birds out. There is what we call IO Lasota. IO Lasota is a kind of spray. They spray the birds and it goes into their eye, which is intraocular. It goes into the eyes. It's against Newcastle disease. That is the first one. Then the second one is Marek's disease. Marek's disease is injection. From the artery, they inject the back of the neck of each bird that comes out. So those are the two vaccinations they do, and they are supposed to do from the hatchery. But we discovered that sometimes the hatchery too, maybe they run out of vaccines, or they don't want to even do it to reduce their cost too. They skip it and just send the birds out.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so them they now advise, because I've attended seminars from some of those hatcheries, they will now advise that farmers should repeat the vaccination as soon as the birds gets to their farm. So to escape them not being doing it, so that you don't run into problem at the end of the day, because the Marex, once you skip Marex and you don't do it, the disease doesn't start from first 2-3 weeks. No, it starts when you are expecting your eggs at the point of lay, 18 weeks. That's when the disease will start manifesting, and it's cancerous, meaning there's no cure. So it is always advisable you get your birds from the hatchery and do the Marex yourself, so that you are sure you have done it, so that you don't run into the loss at 18 weeks, because you end up selling the birds immediately once you discover that they have Marex. So those are the first two they do from the hatchery. If they miss it or you want to repeat it, then the doctors will now do it for you when you get to your farm. Then the first 1 week, or let's say 7 days, the 7 days you do your lasota, oral lasota. You put it in water for them to drink. It's a Newcastle disease too. Second week, you do your gomboro, first gomboro. Third week, you do your second lasota again. You put the lasota. Then the fourth week, you do your second gomboro, meaning you are doing lasota twice and gomboro twice before their 4 weeks. Then the birds will, you now start the injectable form of vaccinations from 6 weeks old. At 6 weeks, the first one is fowlpox. Fowlpox is a viral disease that you need to vaccinate the birds against. Fowlpox at 6 weeks. Then 7 weeks, you do Newcastle disease Kumarov injection. We call it NDVK. In Nigeria here, we have the one they produce in Jos. We call it NDVK VOM. Then there's one they produce in India, which is NDVK R2B. So I always prefer using the R2B, the one in Nigeria first, at 6 weeks. Then at 14 weeks, you repeat with NDVK R2B, the Indian strain, because have different, just like coronavirus is having going around now. We have different strains of all these viruses. So if we use VOM, which is the Nigerian strain of Newcastle, use it to protect your birds. You can also bring in the Indian strain, which is the Noranike strain of Newcastle. Use it to protect them so that they can be resistant to anyone that comes to hit them. So at 7 weeks, you now do the fowl typhoid oil injection for them. By 9 weeks, you do your first coryza. So people repeat it, but I always say once you do the first shot, it's okay. It can protect them. Since it's oil-based, it can protect them. Then 14 weeks, like I said, NDVK R2B, the Indian strain of it. Then at 16 weeks, you do the last vaccination, which is triple vaccine. We call it 3-in-1. It contains it protects them against 3 diseases, different kinds of diseases. One is infectious bronchitis, then egg drop syndrome, and the same Newcastle disease again, NDVK oil. So those are the vaccination for poultry, or layers, let me say for layers like that. Then at 11, in between at 11 or 12 weeks, you need to debeak the birds, to trim their beak so that they don't grow up cannibalizing each other or pecking their eggs to drink. So those are the vaccination program for layers.
Okay, you used a very a medical term now, egg drop syndrome, something like that. Can you throw more light on that? Because we are just laymen who actually want to come into the poultry world.
Actually,
so what does that mean?
They just is a name of the disease that the virus causes. So they just put it like that: egg drop syndrome disease.
Okay.
Yes, it's a viral disease, just like infectious bronchitis and Newcastle disease.
Okay. There's another line of thought I want to go to on the layer first, because I'm going to come to the boilers later in the day before the end of this broadcast. There's another line I want to go to. I in my farm, I have experienced some improvement. Sometimes there's some shaking. It's like you wake up the same morning, what you've seen is not what you saw yesterday. So those of us who are coming in who are new in the farm, you guys relax. Even when you see laugh at us, that when we are being agitated, we are being paranoid over issues that we are in. And sometimes you guys will tell us it's just normal. You know, what is the cause of us having maybe a very high production, and within the next few 3 weeks, we are having a drop in our production? Can you actually tell us what is the cause and how can we prevent such occurrences, particularly for those of us who are coming into the business newly?
Poultry business is a very sensitive, or poultry or birds are very sensitive animals. So when you are working in a pen, you need to use some of your senses. You use your eyes, sight, you use your nose to smell. Sometimes you even use your mouth to taste. So for the production to just come down or increase, all these your senses, you need to be using them. Like production can come down, the birds may be sick, you might not know. Watch their feeders, some of them might not be eating. Look at their droppings, their excreta. From the excreta, they might be indicating some things to you that we are not fine, though, but because people are not experienced, or they don't know about it. So the thing will just give you a clue before it starts going bad like that. Then the major thing that makes production crash is water and food. If your water is not available for the birds to drink, the production will nosedive immediately. If the food too is available but undulating, you have to have a specific time for feeding the birds. Once you have programmed them like that and you now change it, it will also make your production to come down until they get adjusted to the time you are shifting them to. During the hot weather too, the water may be very hot, or the nipples might be blocked. The nipples that the birds drink water from might be blocked, and attendants might not know. Those birds might not be drinking water. So, and is water 75% of water that makes up the egg. So once water is not available, your production will come down. So those are the little things you can see. Then another thing that crash production gradually to almost zero is lice on birds. They have lice that perches around their anus or their perineum, and then under the wings. They move up and down. So by them moving up and down, they are creating irritations for the birds, and the irritation is a kind of stress on them. So number one, stress of the lice moving up and down. They will not eat. The birds will concentrate. If you look at the birds, they will be using their beak to peck around their feather, their wings, and around their anus, so that they can peck those lice out of their body. But the lice are much that they cannot do that. So if you have lice like that, your production will be going down gradually. And if you do nothing about it, it will go to zero, because the birds will end up not even eating at all again, because they'll just be concentrating on pecking their body. So to take care of that one, there are drugs we use. We put in water for them to drink for 2 consecutive days, and then you repeat it 2 weeks after. That's when the lice now suck their blood, they die off. Another one is it is a chemical you put in water, use it to spray the birds, or use it to dip the birds to kill the lice off. So if you do all this, I'm sure your production will not be going down the way it's supposed to. You might crash with one or two crates, which will bounce back, because the birds, they don't lay every day. it takes them more than 24 hours to produce one seed of eggs. So automatically it tells you that they produce 6 eggs in 7 days. So sometimes they might be resting. We call it the resting. That one day that we'll talk is like the resting period for them. It might also coincide with other birds. Maybe like 10 birds, 5 birds may just go into the resting, and definitely that will minus from your production for that day. But the next day it will increase. So those are the little things that cause production to calm down. But apart from, if there is no serious infection or disease, then all these things, as I said, if you put them into place, your production will always be at a peak level.
Okay. And because there is something I remember when I started, it's something that I was told that when you came, you said it was wrong, that the production is on the process, not instantaneously skyrocketing. Just what you said when you started your introduction, that some persons will tell you and tell you, okay, don't worry, in the next 2 months after your best starting, you will start making all the monies in the world. Many of us actually come with such a mindset that, okay, when my best starting in 2 months time now, my bet will be at 80%, 90% production rate. But when you came, you said no. It would take you maybe close to 4 or 5 months, because they are going to last you for 1 year and 1 year 6 months to 2 years in your pen,
Yes.
according to your explanation. So it's going to take you close to 5 months to get to that 80-90%. You cannot just get it from 2 months of the very first day they started dropping. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I remember when I got my first stock, I was happy. Oh, money.com, and I found that I was spending more. And I had to call you. So I said, "What is happening?" He said, "No, you can't. They are not magicians. So each of them had different body structure, or something like that. That everyone they cannot adapt to the same method of laying. That's why when I was selling old layers, also they also reduces once, different on different time. Not everybody now stop laying. I think that was. Can you actually throw more light on that? Because people who are coming in with a lot of money want to invest. They want to have a more clearer understanding. So that some of us who took the risk now to come in first, they will not pass through some of the things we are going through right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. The layers, like I said, when you get them as day old, as a chick, you need to train them to what you call point of lay. And the point of lay is mostly 18 weeks. From 18 weeks, if your birds are well taken care of, you should see 1 or 2 eggs. And the birds, they don't grow equally, but we always try to make the growth rate uniform. But there's no how you can get uniform growth rate. But let me explain like this. When you look at your flock, you see some very big ones. Let's say the total flock is 100%. The very big ones are like 10%. Those are the ones that will come into laying at the first 18 weeks of their life. 18, 19 weeks or 20 weeks, they come into lay. Those are the fast growers. Then those ones will start laying. When 10% are laying, it's a gradual process too. Not that all of them will just come into lay once. No. One will lay today. Maybe you see 1 egg today. Another 2 days, you see another one joining it before it start going up gradually. Before you be able to get up to 1 crate, it might take you 1 week. Then the remaining 80%, which have uniform growth rate, will now join the 10% to start laying. So when they start laying, you will now have 90%. That's why they always say the ideal production percentage is 90. 90% production, then you are good. Then the first 10% that came into laying, when they are getting tired, the remaining 10%, which we call them the runs, that are very small, then those two, they have grown to a starting stage that they start laying. So those 10% that have initially started will be, production will be going down from them. Then the remaining 10% that are the last layers will come in, and so you are expected to have 90% production. Expected to have 90% production. So, but when they start laying initially at that 18 weeks, it will take you another 7 weeks for them to take another 7 weeks for them to maybe be able to feed themselves, so that you will not be putting your money in feeding them again. After that 7 weeks, anything that comes out will now be profit to you, because they cannot feed themselves and you are getting small things from it. That's how it keeps on increasing till they get to their peak. But when you see the first egg, it doesn't mean that the birds are now feeding themselves or you are not making money. No, you are still putting money to feed them to when they start feeding themselves. And when they start feeding themselves, the tension on you will be reduced. Then from there, you start making small money from them. So that is how it goes. No magic.
Okay, because why to throw that in, because that's one thing that most of us need to know, because that's one of the greatest error that I would say that most farm managers or the people actually coming to give you guidelines on what to do. They give you this very, very wrong impression that when you come in the net, the moment you just get your first egg, then you have 2 weeks to go, and they start taking care of themselves. And most people will do their calculation, based on that very particular, understanding. And at the end of the day, it ends up not true when they will not get into the center of the show. That's when most poultry farmers today, when they get to a certain point, they will have no other option than to fall out of the business, because they weren't prepared for more than 2 weeks after the birds are 20 weeks old. But if you were told that, okay, you have to take care of these birds so they are 28 or 30 weeks, they start feeding themselves. Feeding themselves doesn't mean they will buy diesel for you. It only means they will feed the food they use in eating. The food they eat is what they are feeding themselves into. Then you have to buy the diesel, you have to pay your workers for another maybe 1 month or thereabout. Then after that, you will now start getting maybe another 30% extra. So you will now add 70% to pay your workers. So you are not getting gain, because it is good that we explain. But the truth of the matter is there is profit in it, because this is going to take you 2 years with you. The moment they get to their peak of 90%, money start coming in, in full. Because I remember few months back, I think early this month, some few weeks ago, we had live on our base in our poultry farm. We're already getting up to 50 crates. Doctor sir, you are aware of that?
Yes.
50, 50. So
yes.
and their feeding is just for the first 3,000, they are feeding just for 44 crates. So we're having 10,000, 11,000 naira on per day, that we not use to feed the pastry which we bought, late. So that's how the business is. So we know that. Now, the question is this: you've actually talked a lot about the layers, which I think many people today. Yeah, they were going to talk about goat farming picture, but it's not going to be today. Today we're going to just deal on poultry. He has promised that every Sunday we'll have time for us, so we're going to put him on every Sunday. So we're going to take all the different animal husbandries, and like you guys know, let me shoot this in. Like you guys know, we are planning to have what we call a farm village, a diaspora farm village, in a community after Ugbo, in Ovia Northeast local government. The farm is a 1,000 capacity, 1,000 acres of land. which we are planning to buy together, so we can have a farm settlement, for all diasporans, so that people like this, people like Dr. Fatola can easily come there and maybe take up 5 or 10 farms in a day without not having so much stress. Because when the farm is in the same settlement, the ability to take off them will become more easier. Because when the doctor comes in, it can from one farm go to another, even when it's not supposed to be in your farm, for example, and there's an emergency for him to deal with. So it's going to run there because he needs to save. They are just like saving. They're just like normal doctors who save lives. So their aim and objective is to make sure that your birds, your animals are being saved, as quick as possible. So you who is actually putting so much money into the business is not at loss. Okay, so that is it. Now, sir, you've talked so much on poultry. I don't know if anyone has a question. Please drop it in the comment section, so that we can. Or I'm going to drop a phone number right now for you to call in and also ask him direct question. Now, can you give us a little bit more light on the broilers?
Okay. Broiler, like we all know, they are raised specifically for meat, and the way we raise broiler or feed broiler is different from that of layers. Broilers, you need to feed them round the clock for them to gain weight as short as possible. Because if you feed layers like that, they will lay as early as possible, which will be too bad. Because when they lay too early, your eggs will be very small. They won't lay big eggs for you throughout their lifestyle. So broiler is specifically meant to be raised for meat. So when you get your broiler, 8 weeks feeding is the ideal when you make enough profit in broiler production. If you feed them for 8 weeks and they attain, you can get up to 3 kg weight, live weight. So with that, you sell off immediately at 8 weeks. Anything they eat above 8 weeks is reducing your profit. So if you want to go into broiler production, you need to know when to sell off. Because what they do mostly in Nigeria here is they raise mainly for Christmas, and they tell you 8 weeks broiler is not strong. The bone never strong reach. So people end up raising broiler for let's say 12 to 15 weeks before Christmas. And like I said, they used to tell people, the Igbo people that did the broiler, they did not plan for them to stay long to that extent. So after 8 weeks, from day one, you might not have mortalities, because at 8 weeks, they are still very strong and okay. But after 8 weeks, different diseases comes in. Cowpox, Newcastle, CRD, chronic respiratory disease, all those ones comes in, and coccidiosis. So when they come in like that, you now need to be pumping them with drugs to keep them. But the first 8 weeks, you just only do preventive medication, which the best will be okay. At 8 weeks, if you are raising them for 8 weeks, by 8 weeks, you should get 3 kg with good feeding.
Okay, so the maximum weeks that broiler should go with a farmer if he has to make maximum
money, 8 weeks. Yes, 8 weeks. Because anything they consume after 8 weeks, let me just explain like this. When we are feeding them from the first 4 weeks, if you weigh them regularly, they are adding weight in maybe like 0.5 kg, like that. But anything above 8 weeks, they consume more but gain less weight. But when they are growing, when they are still young, they consume less and add more weight. Do you understand? So that's why I said anything after 8 weeks, your profit is going down because they are now consuming more, but they are not gaining weight again. So if you want to do broiler, you need to program yourself or have your market so that you'll be able to slaughter majority by 8 weeks so that you make profit.
Slaughter majority by 8 weeks, so you make
your profit. Yes. So as you need to go on.
Now there's a question I want to ask. I just remember this question now. On the layers,
Yeah.
You like you said layers stay with us between 1 year, 6 months and 2 years.
No, the first 6 months of their life, we use that to rear them. That's 6 months of age, and then 1 year to 4 months or 1 year to 6 months of laying. So averagely 2 years of age. That's when they stay with you. They stay with you for 2 years.
2 years of
2 years. Yes.
So now, and during the time of this age, we start selling them, right?
Yes, you sell them as old layers. Or we call them spent layers.
Okay, and this also add to the profit margin of the business.
Yes.
Or we just set them and we don't add it to it or what?
No, you add it to it. Or it looks like the money you use in training them. You understand? It's just like the money you use in training them, you are getting it back in bulk. Many people here, they call it blood money in Benin. But mind you have gotten the money when you are selling the eggs for that 1 year, 4 months. You have also gotten the money. So that one is just like a free money to you. The spent layer money. It's just like a free money. It's not actually free, but it's free kind of because you're not putting anything into it to get it.
Okay.
Because what you have used in building your pen and all these things, you need to be getting it back. So those spent layer will be reducing your expenses. Your expenses. Yes. And one old layer in Benin this time around is being sold from the farm directly for 2,300. I heard it's even going to 2,400 now for one. So that's quite a lot of money for some people that have old layer to sell this Christmas.
And when it's Christmas time, I will increase up to 2,500 or more.
Yes, might get to 2,500. Yes.
So guys, this is just the entire process that is in poultry farming, particularly the layer, and that is what I am into right now. And like I said, in every business there is the ups and downs in all businesses, but that will not give us the mind to just want to go up. Like I told him, he's here, he's my doctor. There was a time I said I was going to sell my farm, right, sir?
Yes, which I discouraged you.
I was discouraged. I said, "Come on, guys." Then I was going to sell it off, but himself and my boy said, "No, you don't need to do that right now. Hold on a little bit. Let's see what goes on." And that has kept me going. And today I think I'm feeling, despite challenges here and there, but I'm still feeling that positive that something better is going to come out of it. But at the time I was at the peak, when I was getting about 50 for something crazy, I feel relaxed because then I can buy their feed and also have some 10,000 naira, 11,000 naira difference that I'm going to use to pay for the next for the batch B, which is also they are started laying little by little. So I want to encourage you guys. This is a business that we all can go into, and if we go into it just the way we are doing it now, we're going to get more and more profit, because it's going to be easier to manage and maintain because our buying or our what's it called? Maintenance process will be within the same geographical location, and also it reduces a lot of stress. So then we will be leaving our farm with so much eggs that we'll start getting companies coming in to pick eggs from us. When companies come to pick eggs from us, it's even more expensive than when you said to private individuals. You know, sir. You know, those places, those people that do yogurt, those people that do bread, they're going to come there because they want it in bulk. They want to be 3,000, 4,000 crates, which individuals cannot provide. But if we all are now, residing in one location, it makes that very, very possible. And that also can, so we cannot tell them, giving them our own personal, price of selling. That's also another advantage we have farms in the same settlement. So I might be selling for 1.5 now, and the cost outside is 1.6. But if we're in the same settlement, you cannot sell below 1.6, which is the general acceptable price. And the people coming in, they know they're going to come in to buy from a company, not just individual now. They're going to buy from a company, so everybody will be ready to buy and also get the same thing. Okay, so these are some of the things that we need to know about poultry. I don't know if anyone has a question. Please want to throw at Doctor. Please just put it on the comment section, or you can call the WhatsApp number that I put up there now and ask your question. So he had about maybe 14 minutes to go. I told him it's going to be 1 hour, nothing more, nothing less, so they can have more time to pick up his families and also prepare for another time. So people are talking about goat farming. So we're going to talk about goat farming, but it's not going to be the next one. Going to be pig. Doctor, I think that will be okay.
Okay.
Because that's another profitable
venture.
business venture. But another one is blood money. It's even more bloody than the fowl. So I we're going to talk about that. Those of you who are interested in pig, please, next week Sunday, the same time, 4 p.m. Just okay. Somebody just ask a question now, sir. I don't know if you can read it there. So how do one get buyer to these products like the eggs or the chicken itself? Because I believe when you can't get buyer, it's another loss itself. Let me tell you something, sir. When you come to buyer, I'm telling you now, my farm have not gotten to the peak because you just started. I think we started in July, end of July. That's when we started actually getting some good numbers of eggs. I'm telling you, they fight to get the eggs. I mean, they fight. People call the farm and they pay down before they go and pick the eggs. I'm telling you guys, they call my manager and say, please, so how many acres do you have? They say it's 30, it's 40. I'm paying down. I'll come and pick it tomorrow morning. So that to sell it, you just forget it. The demand for egg in Nigeria today in Benin is something different. The only fear I'm having is how to manage them from that they are day old to the laying point, and how to manage them through their life. But for the sales, forget it. There's a company that called in and said he wanted 500 crates every week from me. 500 every week. I told him if I give 500, how would I give your life? So that's how I refuse to accept his offer. So selling is not even an issue. Then for the chicken, I also think it's an issue also. Benin has the largest number of hotels today in South.
Hotels, yeah.
In South.
Yes.
So that alone is one thing you can bear. Because I know every time I'm going to the farm. Okay, sir, go ahead, sir.
No, I just want to add that you also have a lot of big supermarkets that buy frozen chicken. So you can always supply. Once you make your contact and they are ready to receive from you, then you are good to go. You are good to go. For the eggs, you have no problem selling eggs. Even people come from Delta states, Bayelsa states to come and buy eggs in Benin.
Doctor, please, you need to help this guy. No, start going. He just asked a question now. I think he just came in, but he was not here. Okay. He said, "My broilers are dying now. After 2 months, what can I do now? I have lost 7 this week."
Like I said, I say after 8 weeks. there are diseases that will now come in and start manifesting. So if you did not observe the thing on time to give them the medication, it goes chronic. And can the person tell me the signs or the behavior of his birds? From there, I can be able to tell him, okay, see what you go and do. Because I
Yes,
know.
no, Sir Green. Can you hear him? He's asking you now, if you have a doctor, anyone that is helping you to take care of the birds, ask them right now, as he's still here, he still has 10 minutes to go. What are the signs that your birds are having? That can help him to tell you what you need to do to stop this mortality. Because I've experienced this mortality, guys. I bought 2,000 birds from Ibadan, easier, and it got the point we're losing 10 birds, 12 birds in the day at a roll for 1 week. I nearly ran mad. Because one, these birds are small. They are not consumable yet. So we're burying birds, we're burying chickens in my poultry farm like no tomorrow. Look at what it says. They are stressing and weak. I don't know what that is, sir. If you're able to give us.
They are stretching and weak.
Yeah, that's the question. I don't know what that means.
Well, if they are stretching, you should look at the environment. I think it's going to be majorly heat. If he says they are stretching and weak, it will majorly heat. Maybe the environment is not conducive for them, and a lot of broilers are dying of recent due to heat. You just come in the morning, you see them dead, or you just see them jump up and be stretching. Before you know it, they are dead. It's heat. So they should try and see if they can open up the place. If they are still covering up the poultry pen. If they are stretching and dying, then it's majorly heat.
But can they spray them also?
Well, broiler,
Just like
they're on the floor. Broiler they're on the floor. So
yeah.
if you spray them, automatically their sawdust will become wet. And when you have a wet sawdust, there's a disease that they pick up from there. We call it coccidiosis, which makes them to be stooling blood. So you try as much as possible to make sure the sawdust is not wet. So you cannot spray broilers in their pen. The only thing you can do is to open up the place. If the place is airtight, you can still open it up for them so that breeze can come in and they enjoy themselves.
Okay, so no, Sir Green, hope you heard that now. So any other question that we can you can treat in the next 7 minutes? This is a Sunday, just a Sunday. I think this is a huge. This is a huge project. This is a huge project. So what is the cost of carrying out this kind of production for a starter? For at least 1,000 to 3,000 pieces, both building, feeding, treatment, and workers' payment. This is a huge project. I must tell you, we are talking about tens of millions. I think I've gone into that. To build a pen, it's just like you are building a warehouse. That's a pen.
Yeah.
If you're going to do the deep litter, yeah, sir, you need to explain. I forgot to ask you that. Can you explain the cage system and the deep litter? So because that will also help him to know the cost. Because the cage is quite expensive. If he has to come to 3,000, it's not to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you can explain that to us.
Okay. We have two types of management systems in the layers. You have the deep litter system and you have the cage system, which they all have advantage and disadvantage. but the advantages in cages is more. In cage, your birds produce more. When they lay the egg, it rolls down into the egg tray. They don't have access to it again, so they will not be able to drink it. But in deep litter system, the birds themselves, they pick the eggs up and eat. They pick the birds up and eat. In deep litter system, you don't spend much. Once you can build the pen, just like I say, like you said, like a warehouse, but not really like a warehouse, because the block work, the block work you need to do to build a brooding pen shouldn't be more than the block work that will show up. It should be not more than 1.5 block. So from the foundation to the this thing shouldn't be more than 2.5 blocks that will show. So the remaining will be wire mesh, so that the place can be well aerated. The cage system, the ideal one is a 2-line cage. One cage on one side, the other on the other side. But a lot of farmer goes into the system and they tell them do 3-line, do 4-line. When you do that, you are limiting your production thing for your beds, because the place will not be well ventilated. The beds on the second and third row or third line will be suffering from heat, so their production will be reduced. The size of the egg will also be reduced. While those close to the edges of the pen, where breeze is coming in, those ones lay well, the size will be big, and the quantity will be more too, compared to those at the middle. The cage, there are imported cages and there are locally made cages here in Nigeria. The locally made one that they use good China mesh to do, you get it for like 85,000. 85,000 for one unit. We call it units. Both side A and side B of it. You know, it has 3 boxes on this side and 3 on the other side. So that makes up 1 unit of a cage. So that 1 unit of a cage for the locally made one here, you get it for like 85,000. And that will only house 96 beds, 48 on this side, 48 on the other side. While the foreign cages will have 2 types. There's one we call the gated cages. The gated cage can house 120 beds per unit. 120 beds per unit. And it is quite expensive, but it lasts longer. Presently now, with the dollar rate, a unit of it will cost like 185,000. But I can assure you this cage will last you for more than 5 years without you repairing anything. But the locally made one, before or after the end of one cycle, you will need to bring in the cage person to come and repair or fix 1 or 2 things again before new beds can go in. So at each cycle, you'll be doing maintenance for the beds. The other foreign ones, you need to only wash, clean the place, and then put in your beds. Then there are other ones that are cheaper. You get them for like maybe like 130, 120, or even 150, depending on the quality. But those ones will can also house like 96, not 120. So depending on what your financial this thing is either you go, if you want to go into the cage system, you go for the Nigerian type or you go for the foreign one.
Okay, so Joseph, you heard that now. I say it's quite expensive, because I know feeding 1,000 beds from week 1 to week 6, because the week 1 to week 6 is what we call the starter. Am I correct, sir? That's what we normally
yes,
the starter. From week 1 to week 6. That's what we normally call the starter. And that is quite, it's not a joke. Then from there, you look at like a child's play. when you have 3,000, you say, how much I should sell?
Yeah.
But then you have 2 bags, 2 bags, 3 bags. Then when you get to
Yeah.
from week 6 down to around week 12 or thereabout, then you know that you are not spending
More.
money. I can go to week 12 and above, bros. You have 3,000 bears. I'm going to tell you, you're going to think the business is the worst business you can ever go into.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
very serious because
Sure.
3,000 bears will take a minimum of 15 packs per day from you
Yes.
at a point you are 15
Yes.
packs per day. And the bag of feed, as of today, bag of grower is 5,100. Then I buy
Correct.
for 5,150. But because I buy, I have a very particular customer that I buy from. Like, every week, sir, we buy every 4 days. We buy 100 bags every 4 days
Yes.
in our farm.
Yes.
100 bags. Because that the matter of fact, at least this guy is like patronizing us. In 2 weeks we are buying about 300 bags in 2 weeks for the 5,000 pairs that we have right now after the mortalities. So you buy in layers today. Layers is 5,400 as of today. So you multiply 5,400 that's 100 bag in 4 days. You are spending 40,000 every 4 days.
Every week for this.
so so that's why but when you are prepared, from the beginning, mindset wise, money is down, at least to pick it up to the point whereby they start producing 70% of their feeding, then the pressure will reduce a little bit. Then from there, if things get up well, you start making your money. So perfectly well. So let me think. I don't know if you have a English call. I think they should call. Yeah, hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, do you contribute or you have a question?
Not that I want to contribute. I just want to line. It was strange to me, so I just said that call. So I just concerning that estate, that house, that estate we were talking about last time.
Okay.
So I have interest on it.
Okay. Can we talk immediately after the show? But today now we are dealing with farm. Okay, I'll call you back with this number that we can talk. Thank you. So I'm not talking about estate development. I'm talking about the farm. The treatment and supplement. The treatment. Yes, I think you came a little bit late. I think you can try to check the from the beginning. Joseph. Because how many questions you want to have, I think that will not be the treatment. It depends also. So he has already explained the different treatment process from a day old to week 18, and also he also talk about some vitamins. Talk about when they are rising in their bodies. You need to treat them when the emergency that comes up. Because I remember time there was my best were shooting kind of yellowish, and you also ask us to buy some drugs also. So it's just like human being. So you can actually put a price on treatment. Can put a price on treatment? Because something might happen. There might be a new strain of disease that they don't even know before now. That will just spread and maybe spread around your farm, and there's going to be a hit. So that can make you to spend more. Like for example, now my farm now we have a reduction in egg production, and it just told me yesterday or on Friday that I need to buy some drugs by tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
For life.
So that is not it's not in its regular what's it called treatment chart.
That's an emergency.
Yes, an emergency. So this cannot be put into place. Except you want to put an emergency on your bill. Okay, emergency for a month, maybe 15,000 or 20,000. Then you can do that. But you cannot. But for the workers, it depends on what is the capacity of your poultry, and what is the strength also. Okay, what is the strength also of your own financial capability? Like now, I have 5,000 birds or more than 5,000. If you more than 5,000, and I have 6 workers working in a farm right now, because I want to reduce the stress. So, but 6 workers is on the high side. Okay, it's on the high side. That's the truth of the matter there. So, but right now, because then we had issues which the doctor knows, so I need to jack up the number to make sure we have a balance, workload which we have already gotten, and by so doing, now we're going to reduce the workforce, to now be able to meet up the new this which is going to be four persons. Nepa, nice light, though.
Nah, Nepa is light, too. Let me go outside.
Okay. We are going to run off now. Let's see that because it just happened here now. Okay, my lap went off now. I knew that Nepa has done their own. So, guys, I think that's how much we can actually go today. I don't know if there is any other question you want to ask the doc, so you can go and get prepared for next week for us. So 4 p.m. next week, Sunday, we're going to be back here again for another episode, which is going to be on piggery. So if you're interested in pig farming, please come closer. Let's discuss together. Come with your questions. Get prepared so that the doc can actually, talk to you and give you all the information that you need to be able to get a very, very well planned pig farming, guys. Okay? So I want to say thank you, Doc, for your time. We appreciate this right now. And as we believe as we get on starting, we are going to also contact you to help us start the starting process so we don't make mistakes while we are starting, because I might be relocating my farm from that place to the farm village the moment we start farming. So I'm going to have everything within one place. I will not be running through 2 different area, So I might be happy relocating and all that and that. So those of you that will be interested in the farming place, like I said, signify. No, we are not talking about fish. We're going to take it one after the other, Styrene. We're going to take it today just only for poultry only. Poultry only today. So next week you're going to be for pig. Maybe the other week you're going to be for goat. The other one is going to be for dog, and the other one is going to be for fish. Do you know that dog is another big business today? Another big business, even more creative than even this best we're talking about. So we don't know. So he's going to tell us more about it, so that we'll know which one we are going to get involved in. Thank you, guys. I want to say, Doc, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate your time with us today. I will believe strongly that next time we're going to come again, we're going to have more time to talk on issues that will help to build and also to give the diasporans a lot of encouragement, to come back home and actually invest in the farming industry. Because, like I said, the farming industry today is going to be the next oil of this nation. I want to make Edo State particularly, an hub whereby people can come in, farm, make so much money, and also help in reducing crime and all that and that. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So we'll see you again next time.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Guys, I think I lost out. I don't know what I just touched in this place right now. Kind of did that touch now? Please, God, bear with me. I think I'm lost right now. Okay, I think. Okay, guys. Sorry, guys. I lost something there. So thank you very much, guys. This is going to be the end of the show today. Next week, Sunday, we're going to talk about piggery. Best love. Please invite your friends. If you're interested in pig farming, let's come here and do this together. Okay. If there's any question, please just drop your questions down. You can send it to me before the show so that I can have it on my question list that I'm going to throw to the guest. He's going to be here again next week, and he's going to talk to us on the best way we can handle the pig farming. Then from there, we'll talk about the goat heading, the fish, and then we'll talk about the dog and all that and that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all. I need to take a leave right now. God bless you. See you next week. See you even tomorrow. But see you next week on the interview with Dr. Fatola Teslim. But on my coming in, tomorrow you're going to see me again here when I talk about other issues bordering on Edo and other business opportunities. God bless you guys. This is me, your brother, your friend, Humanist Steven. I say bye for now. And the land is going to be at, we're planning to acquire land at Ugbo area of Yanotis local government along Nightfall. And it's not too expensive. And it's going to be, I think, they are saying 200,000 per acre, which is quite cheap. Thank you, guys. Bye, and God bless.